Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes were able to take away the game to win in overtime, but this game was not without controversy as there was quite a few issues with the officiating, and we will talk about the Hurricanes win as well as the issues with the game in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Thursday afternoon. I totally forgot what day it was there for a second, but again, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen. And don't forget to follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And in today's episode, folks, we'll be talking about last night's game 2 against the New York Islanders. The Hurricanes obviously came away with the 4-3 overtime win. That was Jesper Fast first ever career playoff game winning goal. So big congratulations to him. And we're going to need it because now we are without Teuvo Teravainen. And let's just go ahead and dive on into what everyone is talking about. The Hurricanes, are outmatching the New York Islanders. I think everyone kind of knew that heading into the series. So the Islanders, in game 2 really brought the physicality. And that's understandable. I could see why they would do that. But they really resorted to some dirty play in this game. They really, really did. And that's what everyone is talking about today. And, we're going to dive into all this. There were several missed calls. I know a lot of people, are talking, especially Islander fans, are talking about the, missed calls, that the Hurricanes got away with stuff. And, yeah, the Hurricanes did get away with stuff in this game. Okay, they got away with stuff in game 1. Every team gets away with stuff in every single game, regardless of the sport. But you play like you did last night. Yeah, the Hurricanes are going to get the power play opportunities. What the heck do you expect? Okay, you draw blood with a high stick on Sebastian Aho. Yeah, you get assessed a double minor for that. But and that was just Cizikas getting that. But Clutterbuck, he left his feet to board Aho. No call. Blood was drawn on Brett Pesce. Nothing. There was Matt Martin's absolute Bush League level play in this, with him leaving his feet to cross check Jordan Staal and then sitting on him. Nothing. Yeah, and I was just total BS. And he got says, I believe it was an interference call. We're gonna look to see what the call was for that, because it was not sufficient. It was absolutely not sufficient. Yeah, it was an interference call. And that was it. No call for the fact that the guy, cross-checked him. No cross-checking penalty. And then nothing for sitting on him. Nothing. They're resorting to this level of play because they cannot outplay the Hurricanes. They can't do it. And then, you also had, the thing that everyone is talking about now is, Teuvo Teravainen now being out for the rest of the series with a broken hand from an uncalled slash from John Gabriel Pageau. We've all went back and watched the footage. We're going to hear what Rod Brind'Amour had to say about it in a little bit. But the dude just tomahawk chalks his hand. And nothing. Absolutely no call. Okay. Yeah, the Hurricanes did get, more power play opportunities. But when you're playing like this, What do you expect? Okay? A lot of Islanders fans are talking about Martinook's high stick in overtime. One, that's not really something that's going to get called in overtime. But I challenge you to go back, watch the slowed down replay. You will see Mayfield hit Martinook's stick up and not like a little tap. You can see it bounce off. Okay? Go back and watch it. Stop whining. Realize that your team is playing dirty because they cannot outskill the Hurricanes. So they're having to resort to dirty tactics like this to try to get a win. And thankfully, the Hurricanes are not stooping down to the level, though I do fully expect them to be giving the Islanders their receipts in game 3. I expect that. I really expect are they going to be a Bush League level team like the Islanders in game 3, in game 4, and so on? No, they're not going to stoop down to that level, but I do fully expect them to be bringing some more physicality in the coming games. I do. It was absolute BS the things that the Islanders were getting away with. And yeah, they did get called for a lot, as they should. But the thing is, the Hurricanes, they only got, I believe, one power play goal. They went 1 for 6 on the power play. And that's not good enough for the Hurricanes. I'm seething about the Islanders and what they were able to get away with in this game and what they were able to do. But the thing is, the Hurricanes had 2 double minors that they failed to convert on. Can't do that. Especially that first one looked like the power play from the back end of the regular season. It was pretty darn bad. And again, I knew that the Hurricanes power play wasn't going to be, as good as it was in game 1 throughout the rest of the playoffs. I knew that. But again, you had 2 double minors in this game and you failed to convert on it, and that frustrates me. Nowhere near as much as the Islanders' Bush League tactics, but this is really going to be a physical series going forward. And going into this series, we have always talked about when Metro teams play each other that physicality ramps up some. But again, the fact that Islanders are having to sit on people, break people's hands, to try to get an advantage in this game, that's not right. But again, we did get to hear from Rod Brind'Amour and what he had to say after last night's game. And this is what Rod had to say following last night's game.
Once again, just please wait for the microphone before asking the question.
Rod, you probably knew it would take something special to beat Sorokin most of the night. You got a couple interesting goals and then a really nice shot by Fast there. Is that kind of exemplifies just you have to do it in many different ways?
Well, no doubt about it. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game by us. I thought the other team played really hard, and New York was good, and certainly in spurts we were okay. Probably played our best hockey when we got down. But yeah, I mean, you're going to have to find different ways, especially we know kind of the way we have to do it is going to be maybe like that.
On that note, were you concerned that you guys had trouble getting to your game for kind of big chunks of it? Or?
Well, it was, that end of the second was the killer because we weren't playing great, but we were in good shape, and then kind of gave them one. So that was like, obviously they got their momentum going and they feel good about what was happening. So, but no, because this is the playoffs. People keep thinking we're supposed to dominate the game. I don't understand this. Like, they're a good team, and they had us on the ropes, and my guys came back and said, enough, and they gave it back. So that's how it's going to go.
And do you have any update on Teuvo?
Yeah, he's out. He got slashed, 425 marker. He broke his hand. with the puck, takes a shot. The guy absolutely tomahawk chops him. Absolutely. And I know we had all the power play, so you're not going to make it a 5-on-3. Go take a look at the video. And he's out for the series. So there you go. And they're going to complain about all the power plays, but the tomahawk chop, we just watched it. He has to have surgery tomorrow. There you go. So I'm a little pissed, I'll be honest with you.
The stall line has been kind of the bread and butter of this team to be able to shut down matchup lines, but also to get the game-winning goal for you guys. Just how important has stalling, obviously Marta and Ox this year, but the past years, how big has he been to this team and this culture overall?
I think we talk all the time in here, so we appreciate him in that line and what they do and how they play. I think maybe, obviously tonight again. I mean, it's every night. He's our leader, and I can't say enough good things about him. It's probably overall just the way they play consistently, and they're hard to play against. And it was nice to see them get rewarded because a lot of times we don't talk about them enough, that whole line, but they're what we're all about.
And they always say, depth will take you far in the playoffs, and so you have chip-ins from Mason, Stastny, 2 new guys to the team this year. How big have the additions been from everybody getting onto the floor for you?
Yeah, can't keep repeating myself, but the only way we're going to get it done is different guys every night and collectively as a group. That's just the way it's going to have to be.
Was it deflating at the end of the second when they
Yeah,
had to score?
Totally. So that was, it's just not how we normally do things. So that was a tough blow. Like I say, it was not like we were playing great, but when you're up, you think you're going to go in, kind of regroup with the lead. That's, you're in good shape, but that obviously didn't happen.
Have you had a game where you've seen more guys down the tunnel, cut, things like that?
No, probably not. There's a couple weird things in that game didn't like, obviously. But, guys, they get it. I mean, it's playoffs, but some things shouldn't be happening, that's for sure.
I'm assuming you weren't surprised that Jordo came out for the second.
Well, if he can go, he's going to go. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
The way that period ended with Jordan going down and all heck broken in this series, is it hard for a team to regroup when that happens, or does it take a while for the blood pressure to come down? You had the intermission to do that, but how does?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just depended on, you're worried about the severity of the injury, so that's the only concern. And so you go in and talk to him. He's like, okay, I can come out. So now I think everyone was, okay. I think the intermission is a time to totally do what you just said, regardless of how the game's going, good or bad. It's just reset.
On the flip side,
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
On the flip side, what was your message to the team in that intermission before overtime?
Well, I was just kind of like, listen, we can start over here. I mean, it didn't really matter how we got there, and if we can let's try to find a semblance of what way we want to play. And I thought we did that. I thought it was a reset. Probably maybe fortunate to get the tying goal, but at the same time, we did have some good opportunities, and it's just like I said, it's time.
So Rod had a lot to say. He was also not happy about Teuvo getting knocked out of the series. But one thing talking about second period wasn't great for the Hurricanes. It was really when the wheels started to fall off of this game, to be completely honest. And we will talk about that right after this quick break, folks. Now, folks, there is something exciting coming to Built.com on April 22nd. That's just a few days away. I don't have all the details yet, but the excitement is real, and it's something you won't want to miss. If you know how Built works, they have the most incredible protein bars in the world, and they do all these amazing flavor drops with unreal flavors in limited quantity. So mark your calendars and head to Built.com on Saturday, April 22nd to be one of the first to discover what all of the hype is about. I can't wait to see what this new flavor is because they always hit it out of the park. And don't forget, whenever you go over there on Saturday, April 22nd, make sure to use the promo code LOCKEDON15 and you'll get 15% off your order. Now, getting back to the Hurricanes, again, the second period was rough. And, the Hurricanes, got, had some puck luck. The Islanders ended up scoring in their own goal. Steph Nason got the credit for it. But, the second, and, that was something, that the Hurricanes, took advantage of. But again, the second period is really when the momentum shifted for this game. The first goal that the Islanders scored, the Kyle Palmieri goal, in my opinion, that goal should have been challenged. I felt that that was a big momentum shift for the game. The Islanders were able to get on the board, given they kind of it could have been goalie interference there. I would have challenged because his skate was right on Annti Raanta's, preventing him from getting the turn and trying to make a save. So my opinion, that one should have been challenged. Similar sentiment was shared by Trip Tracy, Mike Maniscalco, and then most folks online were feeling that that should have been challenged as well. And I feel that that was a big momentum shift and gave the Islanders a spark. And then, of course, there's the things they're getting away with in the game, but eventually, Islanders, were able to take the lead. And there was that Matthew Barzal goal. I believe that was the one where they tied it, and that was just absolutely poor puck management in the neutral zone, and which led to a goal for the Islanders. They tied it up. Can't be doing that. Cannot be doing that. That's an issue for the Hurricanes in the regular season, was sometimes some poor puck management, especially in neutral zone. You can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. And thankfully, the Hurricanes were able to come away with a win. But again, this is the playoffs. Like Rod said, this is a good team. You're not playing against a team like Arizona or Montreal or someone that's going to be in the lottery for the number one pick. No, like, you make mistakes like that, these teams that you're playing against right now are going to take advantage, and it's just going to get harder and harder and harder as the series in playoffs go on. Like, yeah, you could maybe get away with it once in this series against Islanders. Then you play we'll just assume the Rangers. Are you getting away with it there? No, you're not going to get away with it there. Then, you get to the conference final against Boston, and who I'll assume will be there. No, you're absolutely not getting away with it against the Bruins. And then, whoever happens to come out of the West. No, you're not going to get away with that kind of stuff with these teams right now. This is the playoffs. It's not the regular season. It's not the preseason. You're not going to get away with stuff like that. But Jaccob Slavin, he came in clutch. Everyone knows he's not a goal scoring defenseman, and he came in clutch for the Hurricanes to tie it there in the third. And then in overtime, Jesper Fast, like we mentioned at the top of the episode, was also getting the game-winning goal. Again, his first game-winning playoff overtime goal. And now, we're going to need these guys, stepping up. I've said before that this team is at their most dangerous and their best when they're playing a full team game. And, that's what you had. Guys that, typically, aren't scoring goals, like Jaccob Slavin, tying it up, forcing overtime. Jesper Fast, he's more of a depth guy, scoring the overtime winner. And we got to hear from both of those guys after the game, and this is what they had to say.
Please just raise your hand, wait for one of the microphones before you ask your questions.
Jesper, I know you guys are primarily put out there to shut down the other team's top line, but it seemed like you guys finally had a pretty good transition opportunity there at the end. Is that kind of what happened? You just curl back up ice and good speed?
Yeah, in fact, the puck got stuck a little bit in the neutral zone, and then, I don't know, Burns, you made a great play to Jordo for side and just tried to drive back post, and great pass by Jordo, and I don't really know where we went in, but yeah, great feeling.
Jacob, we occasionally see goals scored from below the goal line, but not many scored from that far below the goal line. What did you see there? I mean, were you looking at the back of his head when you got the puck on your stick there?
Honestly, I was looking for the pass the whole time, and then last second I saw his head and put it in the vicinity and ended up getting a lucky bounce.
And sort of for either of you guys, what was the mood like in the first intermission after the hit on Jordo and kind of everything that happened there? Did you guys talk about that at all, or was there any sort of discussion of regrouping or playing between the whistles or anything like that?
Yeah, we know we have to play between the whistles. I mean, special teams is huge in the playoffs, and we had a power play coming up, so I think our main focus was going out there and trying to put one in on the power play. We know it's going to be a physical series. We know it's going to be a grind series, and that's just how these two our team and their team is. And so it's going to continue to be physical, but yeah, playing whistle to whistle is huge, and not giving them any opportunities they don't need.
Jesper, you guys have played the matchup game all season, all the time, but is there anything in the playoffs that makes it a little more difficult to keep up with guys, or is it just kind of the same ball rolling?
No, in fact, like you said, we've been playing kind of the same way the whole year. We know when we're going out on the ice, it's not really, I don't feel like Rod even have to tell us too much when we're going out on the ice. We see who's going on the ice, and then, yeah, we just know.
What was the vibe on the bench like when you guys go down 3-2?
Yeah, I feel like we probably didn't play at our absolute best until that happened, and then we just we started to play with a more emergency. I feel like we put more pucks in that and find a little more rhythm the way we know we can play.
Just more urgency. I mean, we know how we have to play, and we've been a team all year that will battle hard until that last buzzer goes, and we know look at our game in Phil. We scored with 0.3 seconds left, and so we're going to play hard until that last buzzer.
Is that power play goal one of the more unique goals you've seen? I think right now Stefan Mason gets the goal and has no shots on goal. So
you're talking to two non-power play guys, but yes, no, definitely an awkward one, and I mean we'll take it.
Yes, just to be clear, were you shooting backside post on the game winner? I mean, did you have enough clarity of what you were doing there to?
Yeah, I was aiming far side. I didn't see exactly where it went in. I haven't seen the replay either, but felt like it was a pretty good shot. So
it's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, thanks guys.
Thanks guys.
So, that power play goal that they're talking about, being that awkward one that the Islanders scored on themselves. But, the Hurricanes, you can take it. Anyone would take it. Goal's a goal. And it don't matter. But, we also did get to hear from the guy who opened the scoring for the Hurricanes, as well as the guy in between the pipes, who we're going to be seeing a lot more of right after this quick break, folks. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle, even if the part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check so you know that the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confident is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home the win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Now, again, Paul Stastny, he was the guy that opened up the scoring, and Annti Raanta was the guy in between the pipes yet again for the Hurricanes. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of Annti Raanta as of late because Frederik Andersen was not playing last night. He was not available. I did see on the broadcast he's on long-term IR due to illness. I wonder what it is. I heard where he had a rough skate practice. Pyotr Kochetkov had been recalled on an emergency basis before game one. Again, yeah, he was just kind of serving as emergency backup, but now he's the backup for the Hurricanes. We're rolling with the tandem that we had last year again. So Freddie Andersen has yet to make his playoff debut for the Hurricanes. We'll see how long this lasts. I know you have the Bruins, yeah, having the same issues with guys not playing due to illness. So we'll see what happens there. But we did get to hear from Annti Raanta and Paul Stastny. And first, we're going to hear from the man himself, Annti Raanta, who has been absolutely really darn good. Stellar, even for the Hurricanes. But this is what he had to say.
They made the comeback, and as a goalie, you kind of look those goals, and especially now after the game, you can look those and think what you can do better. So, but yeah, the win is the only thing what matters. So guys played great in front of me, and they battled back, and obviously get the tying goal there, and then get to the OT and score a goal. It's a huge team effort again.
How much did you feel the just energy and momentum shift as the game got tied at 3 there?
Yeah, obviously, kind of took a little life out of the building when they scored the third one, but we kept playing the same way, and we were putting pucks deep and putting shots at the net, and when you do that, good things happen, and we were fortunate enough to get that tying goal and get to the OT. So then the building was buzzing again. So yeah, obviously great feeling to get this win.
You guys had a lot of practice kind of with the comeback wins throughout the season. Seems like that kind of work paid off for you guys tonight.
Yeah, like I said before, there's been games where I felt like I didn't play as good as I can, but these guys, they just bailed me out, and kind of like that today. Feeling. So we just never give up. It doesn't matter what the score is. If there's still a little bit of time, we will keep doing our best, and we will play our style, and good things usually happen. So yeah, it's just a resilient.
So again, Annti Raanta, the Hurricanes got to stick to their game, and they're really resilient. We've said it many times. This is not a team that just rolls over. Like, all right, easily. Like I said, that second period was a big momentum shift in favor of the Islanders. And there's teams out there that they would have just let the Islanders continue rolling. Hurricanes did not do that. And the Hurricanes fought back. Jaccob Slavin, got that game tying goal. Jesper Fast got the game winning goal. There are many teams that would just whatever, just kind of get all down in the doldrums, and feel like, man, the game's lost. And that wasn't the case with this team. And Annti Raanta, it's going to be interesting to see how things go with him for the rest of this series and the playoffs in general. What's the deal with Freddie Andersen? Yeah, we have two good options there with Raanta and Kochetkov, but Freddie Andersen, he's supposed to be your number one goalie, and he is still yet to make his playoff debut for the team. And Annti Raanta, he's been the hot set of hands at the end of the regular season. So, yeah, you're going to want to roll with him to start things off, but we still haven't seen Freddie in the playoffs for the Hurricanes, which is wild. But, it is what it is with him. And hopefully, he gets better soon. Hopefully, Teuvo gets better soon. Hopefully, Jordan Stahl, if he's got anything nagging from last night, hopefully he's feeling better soon. Brett Pesce and Sebastian Aho and all the other guys that got hurt, hopefully they're all feeling better soon. But, the guy that opened up the scoring for the Hurricanes, Paul Stastny, we got to hear from him last night. And, one thing that I probably should have mentioned already, but it didn't, is the fact, the Hurricanes need to continue to score first in these games. Get the momentum on their side early. We talked about in the regular season how they were so dominant whenever they scored early and scored first. And they were right up there with Boston. I actually think the Hurricanes were number one in that regard whenever they scored first in terms of games won. And that's something that needs to continue in this series. Get the momentum on your side early and have the Islanders dig themselves out of a hole. Let's not have the Hurricanes digging themselves out of holes. So we did get here from Stastny, and this is what he had to say as well.
Make space. Calm down.
Paul, their fourth line kind of is their identity. You know, they call it the identity line. To come out, especially early in the game, and kind of beat them one-on-one, did that really help set a tone tonight?
I don't know. I mean, they play a similar style that we do. You know, they try to roll them. It's obviously they're going to get their hits in, but if we get possession, which we try to do off the face-off and make the play defense, then it's hard for them to get aggressive. And they had a couple of big hits. A couple of guys took those hits to make plays, and then from there on, I think we tried to make them play defense. And we had a goal early on them, and then we might add a goal. I think Slav was out there, stuck out there, but I think the first goal and the third goal are kind of the way we play, where we just kept grinding them, forced them to ice it. They're stuck out there, they're tired, and then we catch them. You know, we get a fresh line change, and we catch them being tired, and we take advantage of them.
How important is it to get, like, your goal, a tip on Sorokin, or kind of maybe a little bit more odd goals against him than clear shots? It seems like it takes something special sometimes.
I mean, the same thing, I think. Both goalies, you know, even Raanta, all these goals are so good. If they see the puck, they're going to stop it, unless it's a perfect shot or the puck's rolling, and it's hard to kind of read off the blade. But that's how you score. You got to get tips. You got to shoot from bad angles and just keep peppering them, and you know, eventually they're going to go in, or you could have an unreal shot, and that's what we had there at the end to win it.
Did this feel like a familiar story in a way for you guys? Maybe not playing your best for the entire game, never know who's going to score, comeback victory. Feels like we've seen that a lot this year.
Yeah, I just think the first game and this game, I think we're both up 2-0, and then you have a tendency to sit back a little bit and not play as aggressive. So sometimes it's hard like that. When it was 2-2, I thought we got to play in our game. Actually, they scored, and then they took the life out of us a little bit. And then I think kind of halfway through the game, we had a couple of shifts that got the momentum back, and then obviously Slava's goal. But yeah, I mean, each game is harder. That's just playoffs. You know, now next game's gonna be even harder than game one, which was harder than game two, or game two is harder than game one, and just so on. But that's kind of the grind of it.
You went on the squad last year, but the team struggled to kind of win on the road. What's the key in your mind to getting those wins in New York and on the road?
Sometimes it's nice playing on the road. I think there's less pressure. You know, as a coach, you can just, you know, throw your lines out there. You know, you're not matching. So sometimes at home it's a little tougher. But yeah, we feed off the crowd here really good. And obviously, like I said, when Slavo got that goal, you know, the crowd really got us back into it. And we had a bunch of chances there at the end of the third. But for now, I think we just got to try to play our game. I think we got to minimize their turnovers and just try to get behind them and kind of play that grind game and try to get that crowd out of it. But it's going to be loud there, and it's going to be fun.
Are there any conversations?
So, yeah, right there at the end, talking about winning on the road. That is going to be key in these next two games. They've got to win on the road. They did not do that last postseason, and it cost them. It could have cost them in the first round, but the Hurricanes, they have got to win on the road. And, you know, they did. The Islanders, you know, the hits were heavily in favor of the Islanders after last night's game. And it is absolutely wild. The Hurricanes had 28 hits in that game. The Islanders had 54. The Hurricanes have really got to bring an extra level of physicality. Don't stoop to their level in that game, in the rest of the series, because you imagine that the Islanders are going to continue to try to goad the Hurricanes into stooping down to that level. And the Hurricanes cannot do that, but they also, you know, need to bring some physicality themselves and, you know, play between the whistles, you know, no sitting on people and doing, you know, cheap stuff. None of that. But, you know, lay some extra hits. And, you know, the Hurricanes, they got to fight back. They can't get pushed around, which, you know, they're not the same team that they were in 2019, 2020. That kind of would get pushed around. They're not that team anymore, but they're really going to have to bring it. They're really going to have to bring that physicality in game 3 and game 4. And they're really going to have to be on their A game. I said it before. You had 2 double minors in this game that you failed to convert on. The first one looking god awful. The Hurricanes, their power play has got to show up. The one power play goal you had in this game was a weird one, but it was a power play goal, and that's what's going to show up on the stat sheet. But the Islanders scored on themselves, so in a way, they also didn't get a power play goal. So it is what it is. There, game 2 is behind us, but definitely need to take some notes from this one. Bring the physicality. Don't stoop to the level. Play between the whistles and show up offensively. That they have got to do like they were in the regular season. Score first. Keep that momentum going. And like Paul said, you're up 2-0. It's easy where you can just sit back some. The Hurricanes, they can't do that. They need to keep that momentum going. This is the playoffs. All right, you're up 2-0. If you end up 3-0, 4-0, then fine. It's the other team's job to stop you. I'd say the same thing if the Islanders were the ones, that were up 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Okay, it's your job to stop the other team. Keep the momentum and the pressure on. That's what the Hurricanes are really going to have to do. And I really, really want them to come away with some wins on the road, at least one. Like, come on now. I figured this series, goes 6 games. Gil said 7. Okay, we're expecting the Islanders to get wins in this series. We're not expecting a sweep, but they've got to win on the road, and I would like to see them get at least one win on the road. And we will talk about Game 3 and preview Game 3 tomorrow. And in the meantime, make sure you are following Locked On Hurricanes on Twitter and Instagram at @LO_Hurricanes and myself on Twitter at JaredEllis_96. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode. Enjoy the Game 2 win. Get well soon to Teuvo and everyone else that got hurt. And as always, let's go Canes.